I think it's good. Hello, hello. Are you guys there? I hope you're there. You're going to like this one. My God, I totally forgot who did this. So there's going to be a really good field report here. This one is about the guy's awakening, how to enforce boundaries over the phone. Didn't click at first. Then I looked at the username. I'm like, oh, it's ex-addict bro. That's awesome. Again, it's another one 6 years ago, but here's the thing. Ex-addict bro, he joined 2 years after me, I think it was. I think. Anyways, he's a wonderful story. I've referenced him before. He really does own your shit. He makes a ton of mistakes, but he always learns from them, and he's never afraid to try something new. And I had totally forgot. I think this has got to be one of his first victim puke. And I also forgot he was one of those 2 year married red pilled Rambos that does it all on his own for 2 years, then finally hits his wit's end and finds out there's a bunch of stuff that's missing from it. So I'm gonna have some excellent, I'm gonna know how this one plays out. So you guys are gonna love this because as I go through the story and the stuff we fix on here, I can actually explain to you what's happened in the next years with this guy. So it's gonna be fun. Judging by the title, this looks tailor-made. Aren't they always tailor-made? So you know the deal. I'm going to record this one. Then after the recording, we'll chill with you guys here. So, see ya in 20 minutes. Mids Watch. Welcome again. This one's a classic. This is actually a guy that I know. I know most of these reports are one-off by guys who say one thing, they get their ass handed to them, and then they leave, never to come back, to go back to their blue pill purgatory. This one's a little different. This guy stuck around. This guy's been here for years. I recognize the username. And he actually fixed himself, but not in the way you like. So it's going to be good. So I'm going to go through this report he did here. It's called His Awakening and How Does He Enforce Boundaries Over the Phone. And I'll be able to offer some introspection into how this plays out over the next couple of years. So it's going to be great. Anyways. He had a quarrel with his wife over the phone. At some point, I told her something along the lines of, we're done, thanks, bye. Waited for a while, then disconnected. Then in the flash of genius, he simply shut down the phone. All of a sudden, everything was peaceful. All of his problems came from the simple fact that somehow he thought he needed to pick up the phone, that he needed to talk to her, that he had to dear, or, screw that. That he needs to fog or negative assertion, all that stuff. He just realized, I can just stop talking to her over the phone with a snap of my fingers. Boom. Peace of mind, quietness, serendipity. He's walking around his workplace during the night shift and he's having fun. Fun! He's having a great time with his phone shut down. And he realized for many years that was the problem. I was the problem. I was the reason that I spoke with her like that. I was the only reason. The only participant needed for her never-ending yapping. Yes, he's been a bad guy. He's probably done more stupid stuff than you guys did. He's probably did a lot more in the beta ways than you, so what? I've been the bad guy, and bitches love bad guys, am I right? So why is she trying to change him? No. She's not trying to change him. He's trying to change himself. Because somehow he's trying to fit in her frame. So just like that, on his own, he's trying to fit into her frame. And that's what I saw in this guy today. So what's wrong with that? If you ask me, it's nothing. But it never worked. Never worked for me. It's just not possible. I've been trying that all these years, and boom, it never worked. So when I squeezed my butt really, really hard, and I mean really hard, yes, he realized he did a lot of stuff in a lot of wrong ways. He'll own that. And he's there to fix what he can. But he realized today that he was part of the problem. Maybe he was the only part of the problem. The problem is him. As he says, I am the problem in our relationship. In the past, I let her talk to me like that. I listened. I deared. I read When I Say No I Feel Guilty, and you know what? I fogged like I thought I should. That was all bullshit. I don't have to talk to her at all. I spoke to her like that over the phone for years. I don't have to. A few hours later, she sent an email. He read it, analyzed it, started projecting stuff all over her. Oh no, not this again. What the hell? He's like, yeah, no. I'm part of the problem. I read the messages in the past. I projected all stuff on her, and he thought he had to call her back. He's like, nope, email's bullshit. Put from a female hamster. So she had him over the phone a few hours ago. He started politely. Then came the disrespect. But does he respect himself? It's not about her. Not at all. It's never about her. It was about me. So he felt literally afraid that he'll turn over his phone, reads a dozen texts, and choose to react again. He's not afraid of the messages. He literally feels like he just saw a glimpse of the Matrix in his behavior. He's not afraid to turn on his phone. He's not afraid he's going to roll back to his beta ways again. And he had some realization he was reading No More Mr. Nice Guy. So again, this is kind of like a nice, like, assertive thing here. But essentially what he realizes is like, yeah, he's part of the problem, and that all he has to do is not react in the ways that don't work out for him. That's all he has to do. But he has a question. How do you practically enforce these boundaries over the phone? And if you care, give some examples, please, especially from you beta alpha days. How do you become untriggered after reading a triggering text? Jack comes in, makes it nice and snappy. This is why we tell the guys to slow the fuck down. As much as it might seem like a groundbreaking epiphany, it stemmed from an emotional and impulsive decision. This is why you feel the way you do now. In that moment, you ripped yourself out of her frame. Great. Now what? The point of going slow is to construct your own frame while you do that. Your behavior on the phone had a very explicit message. Look, this thing where you call me when I'm at work and berate me about some stupid stuff, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Okay, great. Boundaries are good. You drew a line, pointed to one side of it, and said, look, from now on, that's out of bounds. But now you're terrified because the follow-up question, and not just from your wife, but for yourself, is, wait, what's in bounds then? So if you come home, she starts launching into some shit test that says something like, look, if you were frustrated with what I was saying, just tell me. Hanging up the phone like an adult is really, or not like an adult, is really rude and upsetting. Does that mean I get to just abruptly hang up on you and shut off my phone if I don't like what you're saying? And she probably won't be mindful enough to say that point, at least not explicitly. But that's what you're nervous about, turning on your phone. You ripped yourself out of her frame, but you did it crudely. You didn't unscrew the erector set. You just bashed against a deck until the plastic piece broke. So you're not operating in her frame, and it's going to get a negative reaction from her one way or the other. But that's not helping. Her shit test will almost surely be a challenge that says, you think breaking my stuff is the best response, and that's all you have to offer? Anyway, so the canonical red pill wisdom is that this shit test is trying to reassert her frame because she'll hate the idea that you're disrupting the power dynamics that have been at play in your marriage. And there's truth to that. But what you know it really means is that you know you're part of the problem and all this stuff. So what do I do? And you're like, all right, so step 1, stop operating in her frame. Step 2, lead the kind of life that makes it appealing for her to operate in yours. The whole idea behind going slow is to build a foundation for step 2 so you can gracefully exit step 1. A lot of guys can avoid a main event if they do that right. Now, if you guys haven't heard about it before, a main event is the mother of all comfort tests. Usually, like I've had one, some of the other guys have had one, some guys don't, and this kind of seems to be the difference between it. So, you get a lot of disrespect. A wife just isn't into you. Girlfriend just isn't into you. You eventually start acting more attractive. You start running dread. It gets to a point where they see that they're losing you. They have a rekindled attraction to you, and they don't know what to do, how to keep you there. And so it's just like a massive comfort test. If you don't see snot bubbles, it doesn't count, basically. So that's essentially what it is. That could be a whole post in and of itself, though. So he tells this guy to read this story by this guy, Irate MD, an irate doctor. It's actually a great story about it. It's essentially where it's just a little field report where he got a vasectomy and his wife went off the pill, made her very horny. She started to hurt him and he made some concerns and then she gave him a shit test over it. It was just him coming to terms with how to have a frame in that situation. It's a good read. There's a link in the description. You're free to go click through that if you want to. It's a whole post in and of itself, so I won't waste your time here. But you can see how he communicates all the stuff that ex-addict bro did in a calm, premeditated way. He thought this was a warm-up set to the main event. But for him, that was the main event, and it wasn't all dramatic. Because he put the blocks in place for step 2, and he made the jump in a deliberate and unambiguous way. And since that day, his wife has been operating in his frame. So he no doubt had a similar epiphany to you, but he realized that before he made some impulsive and angry gesture, which is why you feel woefully unprepared to deal with it, he handled it all relatively easy. So yeah, what do you do now? How do you course correct? So consider a response like this. Look, you started berating me. I just don't like it. We're just going to get deeper into a bad argument. I don't want to deal with it, so I hung up. But clearly, I have other options than just argue back or hang up. It's how you authentically feel, so just do that. A lot of guys, it's like, well, what do I say? It's like, well, try being honest. In this case, it's honest. I don't want to deal with your shit, so I hung up the phone. And I realized there's more ways of dealing with this than just hanging up the phone or calling you a bitch. But it is what it is. So I know you think it was rude, and I know you think it upset you, but look, you just don't seem inclined to discuss your part of what happened, so I don't care to discuss mine. I'd rather just move on. And if you think I'll respond in the future by hanging up on you, I'm not sure that's going to happen. So if she suddenly becomes self-aware enough to offer an apology, look, you're right, I did some bitchy things, probably frustrated a lot, especially since you're at work, you know how these things work. Then I think you can respond in turn. Now, if she says something else, you just shut up, go take out the trash, take a shower. You said what you needed to say, you acknowledge that it was an emotionally impulsive reaction, but you won't be forthcoming with an apology. And if she can't get over that, well, that's her problem. And he says, going forward, make these key moments of conflict put you in a position to enhance your life. Think 2 steps ahead as much as you can. You shouldn't try to avoid your wife being pissed about something, but it's applicable to anticipate her being pissed and be prepared to respond accordingly. Beyond that, try to have your epiphanies before you respond with some guttural, hostile reaction. You find that it works a lot better. So here's the funny thing. Knowing what I know about this guy, he was addicted to pills. I can't remember if we got him out of the hospital. I think he was prescribed them. His wife was a drunk. They're very dysfunctional. Very, like, functional alcoholics, but they're dysfunctional in the marriage. It turns out she didn't... Like, it's not just standard emotional wife crap. The wife was literally a drunk, and he was an enabler. So he kind of made this moment for himself, thinking, my kids are going to be raised and see this is their parents. I can't do that. Cleaned himself up, got his shit together. These things here. That epiphany phase that he had where he just became impulsive and started flying off the handle. Yeah, that's what guys do. It's so common. Like, I've seen Ultimate Cad do it. I've seen a couple guys that you may even know online have done it. They get to a point where they stop being such a fuck up. They fix their lives. They start becoming their mental point of origin. They start becoming top tier. They start getting some poon. And then it goes straight to their head. They start acting super cocky, very impulsive because, I'm an alpha male now. I fucking got this. It's just how it happens. And normally what happens is it's hard. It's actually hard for those kind of guys to screw up their life. Hey, what's up, Future MD? It's really hard for those guys to screw up their life. Because it turns out when you're top tier, you can get away with a lot. So generally what happens is they kind of calm down, get a more centered response. I've been there too. Everybody has. As long as you haven't alienated so many people with your cocky bravado that they aren't there waiting for you at the other end of your epiphany, then it's fine. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to do it slow and not hit these main events, or do it fast and just learn from your mistakes quickly. Either way, Op was probably better off doing it in this emotional way because he came to the conclusion that his wife didn't want to get better. She didn't want to stop drinking. She didn't want to improve herself. And as he got better, she tried to sabotage him. And so he realized, like, she's never going to change and she's only going to drag me down and I just don't have the strength to deal with this. And so he literally had to leave her. He literally turned off his phone. And then he moved on. And he's like, she met a new guy and the new guy was another enabler, another alcoholic. And so he's like, yeah, 50% of the time, my kids are going to be around 2 alcoholics, and some guy that I don't know and I don't trust is going to have a hand in raising them, and I can't change that. And he had to just come to terms with that. And he goes, but the halftime that I have them, they're going to have the best dad ever. Great example. Be a good father. Be a perfect role model. Show them what healthy relationships are like, because if I have a good relationship with another woman, I'll bring them around my kids so they can see it. But I'm not just going to bring hoes over. It's where I came up with the saying, actually, where it's like, being a 100% dad 50% of the time is better than 100% of the time being like a 30% dad. So it's kind of interesting. Anyways, he was really slow on this. He didn't understand any of it, but he gets there. It's just very interesting to see, this like epiphany here where it looks like, you probably could have handled this better. And in his case, part of the reason that Jack and I have so many arguments, and they'll be coming up soon too, is because he and I disagree on fundamentally how to approach it. I approach it as like a fundamentals matter and the details are irrelevant. And he says he likes to drill down from the details to come to the fundamentals. In cases like this, works out great. In other cases, doesn't work out great. But, it is what it is. So take from this one what you will. And I hope to catch you guys on the next episode. Cheers. Is it best to give comfort in a main event, Mustang? That's a good question. And the beauty of it is there's no wrong answer. Do you want to? That's the question. For a lot of guys, the whole point of dread is you're sexually unfulfilled within a relationship. And so you're fixing your unattractive shit and becoming less unattractive. And then once you get to that place, you decide who stays and who goes in your life. Now, usually it's around that point you get the main event. Do you want to win the wife back, or is it too far gone? If you want her back, totally give some comfort during the main event. If you don't want her back, just nuke the test. But that's it. It's all about what you want. Amaldo here. Is Patreon like the Reddit married red pill? It's closer to this than it is to what you would probably see elsewhere. Yeah, it's mostly guys just swapping notes on their own. But as opposed to this, where it's like a new guy coming in hat in hand, is mostly like 20 different Jack 10 of hearts. Like the guys have been around for a good year now. So what happens is they kind of know enough that by the time people have questions, everybody else already has answers. So by the time I get there, it's mostly just like a solidification of it. But yeah, it's great. So it's, 10 veteran users, maybe one new user, but they sort out pretty quick. More Minecraft than Reddit. Oh, hush. Okay, come on, Hud. Come on, dog. Get out of here. From chump to chat in 30 days isn't all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, it's, and I'm not going to say it's the wrong way to do it, because that's what I did. But it definitely comes with its own situations. It really depends how much conflict you're willing to deal with. So like if you want an easygoing one, yeah, you could be more deliberate. You can functionally get your frame together, so by the time you leave her frame, you have a frame that's worth it of your own that they want to come in. And that generally avoids conflict. But if you go the other way and you're just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to start living my life for me, do my thing, cards fall where they may. Yeah, as long as you're good at dealing with conflict and you're able to learn and you practice a lot of OODA loops, run through the cycles, then yeah, you're going to have a rocky road, but it'll generally be done quicker. It really depends. I used to think that anybody could do it that way, but especially after talking with Dr. Seeger on the weekend there, I realized a lot of guys are probably better off with that slower approach. So, Pterodactyl, thank you for the potato, sir. Yeah. Some guys just aren't able to handle that thinking quick, thinking on the fly, and embracing the awkwardness and the conflict well. So it's really up to you. Oh yeah, and I'll probably have him on again. Like I said, Carl's gone for the next 2 weeks. I'll be doing these ones solo unless I see somebody who would be interested in it. But yeah, I do plan on having him on again. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this one. Future MD. I got to edit that part out now. I totally forgot. That's why I had that pause there, because I'm like, I just acknowledged somebody in the chat, and it's supposed to be recorded video. There is no chat. Son of a bitch. But it's good. So these ones are going to be coming out in the next 3-4 weeks, as well as, I don't know if I put the episode out yet with the guy with the vegan girlfriend. I think I already did. But if I still have one in the can, those ones will probably be coming out first. Heartiste on Game is a surprisingly thick book. Great cover, too. The one thing I'm curious about with that, too, is, like, did Heartiste write it himself? Like, did Royce write that or not? I've been telling guys in the Discord when they're getting tested, listen to what she says, count to 3, then answer. I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking a beat. Think about what you're going to say. If I can remember, there's a great post by Wine More Please where he talks about that, when it's good to shut the fuck up and when it's not. And it'll probably supplement what you're saying pretty well there, too. Chat doesn't exist. You're not there. Yeah, anyways. So I'm going to let you guys go. I got to get back to editing, and we're almost at the end of the day for most of you guys anyway. You got your commutes home, or you got to leave your work at home laptop. I'll catch you guys Wednesday. I think it's the next one. Don't forget Patreon. And if you don't like Patreon, Digital Ryan, that channel, I just added the 3rd tier for the membership there. And they get all the same perks as Patreon. It's just connecting to it from a different way. So, yeah. It's fun to turn vegans into carnivores again. The smell of bacon in the morning. I wish you luck, sir. Mine's not changing. I think she's got that parasite where, like, taste of meat actually makes her sick because she loves the smell of bacon. She loves cooking it. Just can't touch it. Can't touch it with her mouth. Ah, well. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Oh, before we do, last one. Danny Arnold, thank you for the $15 super chat. Waited until the MIDS watch part was over first. Enjoy a Starbucks later with your girl on me. I'll be sure to. Having said that, though, it's going to be a plain coffee because we're on a cut right now. So, and then Merc, 3 vegans. Well done, sir. Well done. Anyways, I'll let you guys go. I might record another 2 of these. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow, maybe Thursday. But don't forget, when I add the Patreon there, I'm switching the schedules to Thursday 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. I'm going to give it another try, and if I like that, I might keep the earlier schedule. So I'll catch you guys later, man. Cheers. I didn't plan that. Fair point, fair point.